Right, so we've just got our first campfire talk slash chat with Blizzard, and we've already called a whiff on what they're planning to roll out for season one and what they're planning to change for season two, and all of that, and all of the quality of life issues that they're addressing. And I've seen fellow content creators making these wish lists videos for Diablo 4, for the future of Diablo 4, and for seasonal content, for patches, expansions, and whatnot. So I just thought, hey, I might take the chance now, chime in and give my thoughts overall on the game so far, because I hadn't had an opportunity to do that. Apart from live on stream, I hadn't done any other content from D4 since it launched, because I hadn't had the time, and I might just do it now, combine it with my kind of scrap wish list for the future of the game, and yeah, talk a bit about my overall feeling and impressions from D4. So before I start, there's a thought at the back of my head scratching like frantically that I just want to voice it out and banish it forever. It is one of those things that is purely subjective, and it's probably something that is just an issue, quotation marks, I guess, in my brain only. But I'm pretty sure that there are people out there who feel the same, and I've also talked to other people about that, and they kind of agree. So here it goes. I just think that Diablo 4 is, if you take Diablo 3 and Val Orbit from PoE, if you can make that reference. So you take Diablo 3 and put a Val Orb on it, and you've got D4. You've got a bloody, demonic, corrupted, gore-drenched version of it, but still, every time I do a Nightmare Dungeon and upgrade a glyph, it kind of reminds me exactly of the same time that we had to run Greater Rifts and upgrade our legendary gems, and this goes for almost all aspects of the game. Like, literally aspects are the old set bonuses in disguise, and kind of dictate skill choices, and you know what I mean. But this is like, it's not a problem in itself. It's something that since we've had that, like, you know, PTSD from Diablo 3, and the mechanics in Diablo 4 reminding us of Diablo 3 in that way kind of make it feel that the game is Diablo 3.5. Again, this is like something that's not necessarily bad, because Diablo 3 is the launchpad upon which Diablo 4 is built, and this is just totally natural because you already have a working piece of tech. You've got the fully functional game. It plays well. It just performs well. Of course, you're gonna build upon it. It's just the logical thing. It would not make sense for Blizzard to just start from scratch and build a new engine just so that they could address some 40-year-olds fond childhood memories and wet dreams. So this is like, okay, I've tossing that aside. There we go. So they've talked about a few quality of life changes in the Campfire Chat slash talk thingy. I think these are all great. I just feel that these are a bit of you know, problems that they have created or kind of neglected along the way throughout the development of the game, and now they're trying to like present it like they're making these big changes, but in a way they shouldn't have been in the game like that for initially. Like, you shouldn't have like stuff like not having a gem tap, for example, or something like that. This is like, you're not building upon the game by just adding that stuff that could have been added before that. But I guess kind of, you know, the like deadlines and all that, and they couldn't have, maybe they didn't have the time to implement that back in the day, and now they can do it. Okay, it's great that they're doing it, but there are some things that I feel are kind of core and rooted in, and Blizzard has proven to be dead set on these things, so they're not likely to change, and these are my like main concerns. So first off, itemization. I think this is the number one driving force for an ARPG. Probably sharing the first spot with action and responsiveness and the weight of combat. But let's just say that itemization is the thing that drives, that motivates further play, replayability, build variety, trade, all the build guides, all the content around the game, all the, everything revolves around the idea that you're chasing a good item. You want to find it, you want to find a way to find that item. If you find it, you want to share that you found it, or you want to make a build around it. And I'm clapping too much with my hands, like I don't know why I do that. You're probably not seeing it, you're just hearing these claps. Just ignore it, they're just a fly in the room. Anyway, itemization, I think this is something that has to be, I don't know how it could be augmented, I don't know how it could be like altered or changed, probably, but it's not dead in a way that it was in Diablo 3. So I think there is a bright, like shining ray of light, just a little bit. It could be made better, because we've got item bases in a way, at least for the weapon. I mean, I've played Barb most of the time, and we've got these like damage to injured enemies, like the two-handed axe gives you like damage to healthy enemies, and you've got the overpower damage on maces, and so these are like in PoE you've got your base crit on the big sword, and accuracy rating on the whatever. But you mean we've got these like tiny things that make items stand out from each other, so this is good. We've got like these affixes that could roll on amulets, that could only roll on, for example, certain gear pieces, and we've got the +2 skills, we've got +2 passives, which is cool. But again, I think it all boils down to like in Diablo 3, you got that crit attack speed, like crit chance, attack speed, and crit damage, and this is all you will ever chase. And then you've got your main stat. Here you've got a few more. I think this could be like a bit more varied, because right now we're again chasing vulnerable damage, critical strike damage, and critical strike chance, probably, at least on the Barb, or at least with the build I'm playing. So maybe itemization is not as bad as in Diablo 3, but it's still, I think it needs a bit of rework, a bit of tweak. Thing to point out though, I am not level 100, and I'm still not dropping the highest item power things, and I still haven't fleshed out my build. I still haven't done all the crafting there is to do and all that. So maybe until I reach higher levels, I wouldn't like be surprised by some of the itemization variances. But again, I think itemization could do a bit of work. Again, this is something that's kind of a core thing, and I guess it could break the game if you try to tweak it and not do it properly. And if I don't know how to actually do that while the game is already live, and it would kind of need a general overhaul, maybe, I don't know, with an expansion or something. This is not something I would expect from a patch or from a season, unless it's like a genius solution that I can't think of. So anyway, moving on with like just following the itemization train of thought, there are no chase items currently, and this is something that really hurts the longevity of a game, I think. And having no that special shiny thing that you want to chase and achieve and have is kind of ruins the idea of me just farming. Like, I don't know if you should be incentivized to spend all these mindless hours of farming, but we are here to play that video game for that. So I guess that we are brain damaged from D2 or from PoE or whatever, and we are playing a video game, so we know what we've signed for. But I feel that if they add, again, I don't want to say that Diablo 4 should follow Diablo 2 in every way possible, but for example, in Diablo 2, the rune system Debatably, this I have people in my I've talked to people that say that the rune system has ruined Diablo, Lord of Destruction. That they should not, there should not be runes in Diablo. That they like having rune words makes other items obsolete and all that. And again, there are many opinions on that matter, but I just feel that the rune system adds a lot of variety and a lot of chase to items. And again, for me, in Diablo 2, for example, I've never dropped the Zod rune. I've never dropped a Burr rune. So this is something that I still want, and I would continue playing Diablo 2 every once in a while, like Diablo 2 Resurrected. Maybe if I get something like that, I would be super glad. I would be like, ooh, now finally after all these years, like it's something that small victory that you want to achieve. And in Diablo 3, I did not have that feeling ever, because there was nothing that you could chase except for the green number that upgrades your main stat or whatever. So there was no item probably that was that rare. Like maybe in the beginning with the auction house, maybe that was the most fun time in Diablo 3 I've had, probably, because you were actually chasing something so that you can sell it. But like these were dirty times, but they were fun. So you were actually chasing something. After that, you were just chasing, like you already had the item, you were just chasing the different scale of the item or the different like roll of the item. But again, you've already had the base, and it kind of ruins the fun of it. The chase, it kind of doesn't matter once you've gotten with like 0.5 crit more, or like you've got Mempo with 5.5 crit and now you want Mempo with 6, but finding it doesn't feel like finding a Griffin's Eye, right? I mean, finding a Griffin's Eye after a couple of years or months of farming, and you don't give a fuck about the role of the Griffins. You're happy that you've got your Griffins now after all these years. And I just think that Diablo 4 should just have something like that. And right now it feels like the unique items are too few. And once I've dropped like a couple of unique boots, I already know that they would be like either these, or I don't know if they're like more than a couple in the game. And same goes for gloves. So yeah, this is the 0.1 version of the game. The game just released. I know that I don't even remember how Diablo 2 launched or whatever, but what items were in it, what uniques, what sets, but I expect they would be adding more. I just hope that these new items that they add would be like really chase items, something that you would strive for, something that would make you feel a little sense of achievement once you found them, and not something that you occasionally drop and you're just chasing the better green number. This is what I want to point out. So the next thing that I am afraid is not subject to change based on Blizzard's approach lately is that build variety revolves kind of around the mandatory core skills. And you've got your 5 core skills, or 4, I don't know actually. I might be talking bullshit right now, but anyway, you've got your core skills on each character, and you kind of have your aspects based around these core skills, and they mainly supplement your build using these core skills, and they kind of dictate your playstyle a bit. And you can't actually build. I think you can, but it's not meant to be, which is strange. Because yeah, you want to go off meta, okay? You go off meta, but the game kind of doesn't really predicts that you want to do that, and it kind of inhibits you in doing it. So you can't go full, for example, Frost Nova or whatever, or something like that, because these cooldowns and all that, I think you can go full leap on Barbarian. This is what I'm gonna try now. That I'm actually going to try leap Quake or whatever, because I found some aspects revolving around that, but I still don't think that you can actually go nuts on that and just use it as a main skill or whatever, because you still will have that cooldown and you will not have that damage scaling actually. So having like all the aspects, not all of them, but most of the build defining stuff revolving around core skills would mean that eventually, if you have 5 or 4 core skills, one of them would be superior, one would suck, one would be clunky, one would be like, I don't want to play bleed or whatever, and it kind of limits your choice and kind of hones you into a certain like playstyle that you have to go, because you've got the gear for that one, and it smashes all the content, and it's a core skill, and I have to use that one. And following that train of thought, generator spender. This is something again from Diablo 3, and this is something that I've hated back in the day. I hate it still. It's sometimes it feels like clicking your mouse doesn't do anything. I don't know how to express it. I don't know how to, like, at least for me, I don't know that once you've already fleshed your build out, and once you've built it, and once you've gotten all the super duper stuff for it, resource management becomes like a trivial thing mostly. But again, there are certain scenarios, certain points in the mid fight where you just can't generate enough, or you just are for example CC'd or something like that, and you're clicking and nothing happening, and you have to wet noodle the guy just to get a bit of fury and just to smash him with 1,000,000.5 100,000 whatever bazillion DPS, and just it feels really shitty to just have to whip him around a bit just so that you can smash him with the hammer and do all the bazillion damage on him. And I think from what I've heard, they are pretty dedicated on that system, and they're not gonna change it. They're not gonna do anything about it. But I know it doesn't make sense for a barbarian to drink mana potions, and I know that it kind of enhances the character fantasy and makes these classes distinct, and that's what they want to do. This is their vision of these 5 classes or 6 or whatever they're gonna be. It's just, for me, it's something that goes more on the negative side of the game. So anyway, moving on to things that might see a bit of change, and I think they've talked about that a bit, and there are people who are pretty vocal about it. And what I'm actually talking about is the limbo that is from level 50 to level 70, and you all know that, right? All of you who are not super duper rushing streamers and who are not into groups like rushing to 100 on the first day of release, you know that. All you slow dads and all you casual players who are just chiming in after working hours and who are just playing in the weekends, you know that from level 50 to 70, this is just a chore. It's just vanilla. Wow, like, this is, I don't know how to express it. I know what Blizzard meant with that. They just wanted to give you the time to grind out your renown, to do all the side quests, to find all the authors. But I feel that you can do that in the bracket of 5 levels, and from there on, it's just like super slow grind, and you're not getting anything for it. I mean, you're not getting sacred items good enough for you to progress. Like, in my playthrough, at least, I decked out all my sacred gear with the maximum that I could squeeze out from sacred gear on level, I don't know, 50 something. And from then on, I would just like had to slog through the few levels so that I could do my capstone dungeon for T4, and I did it on level 65, probably, of 64. I don't know. I gotta check my video of that, and then I had to like go and play from level 64 and just to get like these levels to 73. So I mean, yeah, I was already playing on T4 and dropping ancestral items and getting rewards for that, but still I felt like there was some kind of XP penalty, because I think the optimal way to level up is facing enemies 3 levels above you. So again, I think that this should be kind of adjusted, or at least if they add more tiers, that could be a problem solver. Or then on the other hand, I don't want it to turn out in Diablo 3 where you've got like Torment 1, Torment 2, Torment, and then you've got like Torment 572, Torment 570, just scaling exponentially like that. And I just don't want it to turn into that. So I don't know actually how they could adjust it. Maybe the dungeons should give more XP. Maybe the quests should give more XP. Maybe the quests should be more worth your time, because right now they're kind of just for filling out your, for 20 renown points. But then again, there's something positive about the side quests. There are some items that you can get actually, and there are some videos on that. You can check also, like just off the top of my head, Cooley did a video today for a quest that gives you Mark of the Covenant. This is really cool amulet. I was an idiot and scrapped it, but again, I mean, side quests could see some love, and especially side quests like that one, where they give these special rewards, like named items with like a text below, that give you something that cannot roll naturally on that gear slot. This is a cool feature, and I would like to see more of that. So thumbs up on that one, and yeah, please implement more of these in the future probably. And while we are still on the topic of XP, they've said that they're going to buff Nightmare Dungeon XP, which is again a cool thing. And yeah, that would kind of speed up the leveling process a bit. Maybe also add more impactful reward type of bonuses, like not reward type, but these positive affixes on the dungeon, like something that proportionally increases the density in regards to difficult, like for example adding more something that spawns more monsters, like the dungeon becomes more difficult, but then you kill more monsters and you've got more XP like that. So something similar to like Beyond in PoE, or I don't know, maybe something like that. Another thing that I think it's relatively easy to build upon and expand is the crafting system, and for now it is pretty basic, obviously. I would like to see more in-depth crafting and more use of these materials. Currently, I can hear people complaining that, not complaining, but it is being brought up that there is a crafting material cap. That means that if you're capping these, you're not using them as much. So maybe in the future, we should have more use for these materials, or like more options for crafting, something that would actually make these worth hoarding. And again, gems, for now, they feel like in Diablo 3, basically you just upgrade to the highest tier, you slot in all of the socketable gem gear slots, and that's it. Everything else is just you don't even pick up, and it's kind of a waste. Yeah, they are going to go into the crafting material tab, as far as I heard from the Campfire Chat, but I would like to see these gems having more of a role to play in crafting. For example, something with for example, I'm a big fan of the Horadric Cube in Diablo 2. Again, I'm bringing up Diablo 2. I just can't help it. But they aren't hidden anymore. But in the past, or at least in my childhood, it was really a big mystery with what you could achieve with the Horadric Cube and what would happen if you combine this and that. And I know these are fond memories that could only exist in a time before the internet, before Reddit, before forums, before guides, before YouTube, and in the hazy days of computer clubs, and you being a little brat, and the bigger guys with the level 99 character just farming cows and giving you all the life coaching you could get for Diablo 2. But again, you don't have to try to simulate something like that, but Even now, the Heraldric Cube kind of offers a bit of mysticism to crafting, because it is kind of deterministic, but then again, you can't really know for 100% what the outcome would be. So there is a bit of luck involved. There is a bit of knowledge. There is a bit of trying to gamble out what you could get from the items you put in. So for me, it would be nice if there was a mechanic like that. I'm not saying that they should use Heraldric cube or something like an ice cube in Diablo 3 or whatever. It doesn't have to be a cube, but just some crafting mechanic that is a bit more chaotic and a bit more mystic, a bit more unpredictable, something that could act as a sink for all these materials and in a way give them worth. So yeah, why not? Now moving on to a thing that I don't know if Blizzard will ever want to do something like that, but again, I think it would be fun. And again, it would ruin their idea of the idea that they've built defining these characters, these 5 classes. But again, I would like to see a transition to a more semi-classless system or something like that. At least not like in PoE, but a system where classes could use all sorts of weapons, and that could also be just a theme for a season. It could be tested out in a seasonal event and be scrapped later, like reroll or whatever. They could add it just for the fun. I don't know if that's even technically possible, but for example, again, I think that first off, they started talking like there was a video back in the day where they pointed out how they want to let everyone live out their character fantasy and all that. And right now, I don't think that is possible. You cannot live out any character fantasy. You cannot be a like magic wielding barbarian. So, I mean, I don't want to make that parallel again with Diablo 2 and with PoE or whatever. But for example, in Diablo 2, you've got your sorceress with the crossbow. I don't know, like the explosive arrow sorceress. You've got your like shape-shifting barb. You got, I don't know, for example, you could just let characters use all classes of items, and for example, you could have some pretty wonky interactions, and it's not necessarily gonna be the strongest thing. It's not something that's gonna be meta, but it could be like interesting to try it out, or I don't know. So I don't know why you should not be able to use a staff on a barb. For example, if you're gonna go with the fire damage while berserking aspect or something like that, why not let me get a staff that gives me fire damage and raises up my fire damage and makes me like do all fire shit and do all that fire AoE around me and whatever. It's just something like, I don't know, something like that would be fun, I guess. Again, letting a sorceress wield a big hammer and just like an enchant type of character, probably. So I would like to see something like that in a season, just like a mashup class crossover system, whatever. Just make it go crazy. And I would like to see more epic boss fights again. Right now, boss fights are too easy for me, at least it feels like. Maybe my character is more single target focused, but the only real danger I am experiencing right now is chain CC, and this is something a lot of people are talking about, and there are a lot of videos about that already, so I think they're going to address that. I'm not gonna go on about that now. From a certain point onwards, like from level 60 something, the only thing that's been killing me is me not having the unstoppable on cooldown. Like for example, on my barb, I've got my cry that makes me unstoppable, and my rush or whatever charge that makes me unstoppable. And if these two are on cooldown right now and I get chain CC'd, I am dead, unless I can just tank it out. But sometimes I just rush into 7 elites or whatever, and they just freeze me, then just fear me, then they just freeze me again, and yeah, feels like Chain CC is a bit of a downer right now. Timed events and trap chests and all of these 1 minute kill all enemies or survive the ambush type of thing. Sometimes they feel like a chore and I just don't want to wait them out, but sometimes I don't have a choice. I'm trapped, or I just have to do it in order to get the shrine just to blast it. I mean, I don't know, it's an optional thing, but just having to wait a couple of minutes for like super slow skeletons to spawn only to just smash over them and instantly delete them is kind of ruins the inertia of just rushing through the dungeon. Again, I don't know, you're not supposed to be rushing through the dungeon, but that's what happens eventually. I don't have any comments on hardcore. I don't play hardcore and I won't pretend I have an opinion about that. There are other people who have been vocal about it, and I know this is something again connected with CC, so I hope they address that so that more people who are playing hardcore can enjoy the game more. And same goes for PvP. The only thing I could notice in the Fields of Hatred is that you're not picking these seeds automatically like the Aberrant Cinders, so I don't know why. Maybe there's a logical explanation, something connected with the PvP aspect of the game, but I don't know why you gotta click them. So maybe they should just do it so it picks up automatically like gold and all the other craftable shit. And yeah, let me just check my notes. Okay, so yeah, something really important actually is in a game that's playing as a semi-MMO type of thing, there are literally no social features and no trade, no looking for group hub or anything like that, or just nothing to let you group up with people, and like apart from the random groups that you find doing world bosses or events or whatever. Like, yeah, you're running into groups of people, but they feel more like NPCs, and they feel like I mean they're just blasting through content as well as you, and you just going your own way, they're going their own way. And I would like to see something like maybe not the Battle.net hub lobby or whatever, but something that, for example, lets us group up for special event or for some particular event or something like that, maybe for Helltide or I don't know. So this is not something that cannot be implemented post-launch, so I guess that they should just look into it. And I think they've said that they're working on resistances for season 2, or for a way to revamp these or to adjust them so that they're not in the current state. And what the current state is that you don't actually care about the resistances, and I'm stacking armor and I'm just randomly having resistances on this on that piece, and I don't feel like it matters. The only time it matters probably is when poison degens you, but again, I have not invested into poison resistance, and I could just tank it out with just drinking potions and having armor, and I don't know, along the way something has not been calculated as it should be, I guess, or I don't know. So again, Diablo 2 have made you prioritize on resistances once you reach the higher tier of the difficulty. So I think maybe once you reach tier something like tier 4, maybe you should have a, I don't know, a penalty on resistances or something like that. I don't know if you have here. I haven't checked actually. Maybe perhaps I'm talking without knowing, but it doesn't feel like it. So if it doesn't feel like it, they should probably adjust it in a way so that resistances actually matter if they exist as a stat in the game. So yeah, and again, following the same train of thought, having monster immunities or at least resistances. I'm not a fan of monster immunities, and I'm not a fan of the game just cock blocking you and just building a wall before you and now letting you progress because you've chosen to play Cold Sword, for example. But again, these type of things like monster resistances or at least immunities in some form lead to build variety and carefully planning or choosing your character for a purpose. And again, this makes your character a bit more unique. You invest a bit more into it because you want to farm that and that and that, and you cannot farm something else because your character is not fit for that area or for that monster type or for something like that. So this kind of, again, added a bit to the character fantasy. And right now it doesn't feel like it's existent in that game because every character can actually do everything. And it's just a matter of DPS numbers, and it's just not. I mean, it is fun to kill stuff quickly and see big numbers, but maybe some people just want to think it through and, build a character that is excelling in something else. And I don't know. So right now, again, monster resistances don't matter, your resistances don't matter. And if monster resistances mattered, that would mean that you could potentially augment items or increase, like, overhaul the itemization in a way that you could have items that lower monster resistances, or like make them vulnerable to this damage or that damage, or this adds more depth and more layers of what the items could be, what you could upgrade, what you could choose to wear, and what. So I think that it's not a thing that limits gameplay. It's a thing that enhances variance. So maybe they should just find a way to, implement that. And in conclusion, some words about the far future of Diablo 4 and all the seasons down the road, and why not future expansions and all of that, because hey, I think they've said that we're getting expansions, so here's to hoping. As a live service game, this offers a lot of branching out and update and all the tweaks and patches and everything along the way that comes with it, that could end up making Diablo 4 that great game that we could be playing for the next, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years. Our grandchildren could be playing it, who knows. And I think that if they keep adding, if they keep working on it, it's not as unrealistic as it sounds. So the Paragon board is easy to expand upon. So what about the skill tree though? Can that one branch out? Currently, it's a bit of, I don't know, underwhelming to say the least. Or at least it doesn't offer much build variety. I've already talked about that. And if we're getting more characters, and if we're getting more seasonal content and more items, more mechanics, these should tie in with more passives, for example, or more unique abilities that make use of these new mechanics, or new types of damage, or new types of debuffs, or new types of buffs on you. So again, as a skill tree, as a system, as a foundation, I don't see a reason why it could not branch out. Realistically speaking, it's just a matter of, space, or I don't know. You could just add indefinitely to that one, or make sub categories for the, I don't know, for the different skills, something like the cluster jewels in PoE, or I don't know. It's, for me, it looks possible, and I don't know from a dev perspective or from a balance perspective, but for the game to be, healthy and long-lived, I think more skills and more build variety, of course, and 2 more classes at least, should be something that's on Blizzard's plans down the road. And yeah, here's to hoping. I am pretty sure I've missed a lot of stuff that I could have commented on, but these are just the main bullet points that I've had in my head in the last couple of days that I've been playing D4. I'm having a lot of fun despite all of that negative stuff that I've been pointing out. But again, conflict is the catalyst of progress. We gotta speak out. So yeah, speak out. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you would like to see changed in Diablo 4. Do you think these are reasonable? Do you think that Blizzard would never change something like that? Just tell me whatever you think about the game. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying it? All of that would help me out with the algorithm gods that dwell in the vastness beyond. May the hammer of the ancients crush their misshapen skulls. You just need to smash that button and we're good to go. Have a nice one. Enjoy Diablo 4 and see you next time.